Hi, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, please take a second to hit the subscribe and the like button. I notice that I have a few more views than I do subscribers. And if you come and have watched more than one video, you like the content or want to hear more about my story, or if you just sat through the entire video that long, then at least hit the subscribe button, okay? I am a single mom with a small business and a small channel. And I hope to reach as many women and just people in general that can hear my story and understand that they are not alone. So today I am doing part 2 of how I know he doesn't like me, or how I found out that my ex didn't love me. A full-blown 6-year relationship, engaged and all, and he didn't even like me. What prompted this video, if you don't know my story, you can go back and watch. One of the very first ones I posted was about my entire story, our relationship was, and what my situation and how I got to where I am today. There's a lot more to the story that I haven't gotten into yet. You can watch that and come back and, you know, have a little more information so this makes more sense to you. What I was speaking about in the last video is pretty much the different ways and red flags that I ignored, scooted on past, and honestly was so gullible and what they call green that I didn't realize that it was a red flag. When you have never been in a really good relationship, you don't know what a good one looks like. Or if you've been in a really good relationship, you tend to know what it feels like. In my experience, I'm pretty much used to the mess. Let's just say that, you know. Honestly, don't know what it feels like to be genuinely loved. So when women like us end up in abusive relationships, narcissistic relationships, or just in a relationship with men that may not necessarily be abusive, but just not really taking us anywhere, just stagnant, just, you know, just there. It's because if you've never felt what love feels like, first of all, any piece of love feels good. That's number one. Any little bit of attention feels good, because you just, everybody wants to feel that love and attention. And growing up, it takes a while until you get, you know how people say the older you get, the more you get that I don't give a F attitude. That's very true, because the older you get, the more you're like, I don't care who don't like me. I like me. Jesus likes me, and that's all I need. And it took a really long time for me to get there. A lot of times we're spending a lot more of our life looking for love on the outside or in other places, and that leads us to love in the wrong places. And the enemy is always waiting right around the corner when you're looking for something, and he can't wait to hand you something that's false, because he masquerades as an angel of light. And he can't wait to make you believe that you're in light. And by the time you figure it out, you're so deep into the darkness, you don't know what light even looks like. You don't know how to get out of it. And it's only by the grace of God that I didn't go as deep into the darkness as some women may have been. I was watching a video yesterday of a woman who was talking about her narcissistic ex-husband set her on fire. I mean, I can't imagine. And she's still a gorgeous woman, obviously, inside and out. But the crazy thing is, they were in a relationship or married for 15 years. And it's obviously this man absolutely hated her. When you don't know what love feels like, and somebody offers you something that may look like it or even just feels like it, you don't know what you're looking at. You really don't. And I was speaking on the last video just about the red flags that I skipped over or didn't even really know was red flags, because one, I didn't even know what narcissists, didn't know what any of that was. And again, two, my previous relationships were so bad that comparing to my experience, I thought this was supposed to be better. He was 8 years older than me. He's supposed to be more mature and smarter. He carried himself differently. He dressed differently. But really, he was just towering over me with this attitude of, I'm smarter and better because I'm older than you and I know better. And I just was following it like a little puppy dog, like, yeah, he knows everything because he must be, you know, this must be the good man that I was waiting for, because he goes to work. And I always say, going to work does not make a man a good man. He can be going to work and coming home to you every day and cooking you dinner. That doesn't make him a good man. There's a lot of aspects that makes a man a good man, and there's a lot of different ways and a long spectrum of things that can make a man a terrible man. I mean, you know, any person, if you have a woman that is cooking you dinner, rubbing your feet, taking care of the kids, she's doing all of those great things. She don't cheat on you, but then she goes out in the middle of the night and, I don't know, commit mass murder. Yeah, she's still not a great one, you know what I mean? Like, it's so many other things that can cause that. One thing I thought was different was that he seemed to listen to me. And now, after studying narcissistic behavior, I now know that all of that listening he was doing had nothing to do with me being interesting. It had nothing to do with him truly wanting to get to know me, even though that's how he made it seem. It was really about him studying me. What's really interesting is now I look back, and there were a lot of weird things about him that I kind of glossed over and was like, well, maybe this is just because he's a very strict person. You know, he's very particular about hearing all the details, and you know, because he would zone, like if I'm talking or something like that, he was very adamant about eye contact and staring at me, and I really want to hear what everything, you know. And at first I'm like, oh wow, he's really here, he really wants to hear what I got to say. It's so nice to have a man that wants to hear all of my stuff, you know. So I'm telling him all my business, and I'm an open book. I don't have nothing to hide. Shame the devil, tell the truth, shame the devil. The devil can't hold anything against you when you're honest about whatever it is you're doing. When you repent to it, I've already repented for it, so I don't need to justify it to anyone. So I don't feel any kind of way about exposing or speaking about me or my past. So I'm telling him everything, my parents and everything that I have gone through and been through. And what he's hearing is, oh, great, you've never met somebody like me. Now, I know, and he would always say, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. Fast forward, now that we have broken up, he's exactly that guy. He's just a little bit quieter. That's all. Just a little quieter. I'm still a single mom, still taking care of my kids by myself, still with no help. And if he doesn't have access to me, then therefore he's not helping. Just like the rest of them. Exactly the same. Nothing different. He played the good guy role only because he didn't do drugs, only because he's never been locked up, only because he went to work every day. So it was like, oh, I'm a step up, I'm a good guy. His family members pumping him up to think that that's all that it takes is to be a good guy, is because you go to work every day. Oh yeah, he's a stand-up guy. And ignoring the red flags like, oh, he still has mommy issues. He's still angry at his mother. He's angry at God. And he doesn't really know what love is or how it feels, and therefore can't give it to someone. He has no idea what he's doing. And not to mention, I don't know how to take care of family or a child. It's like he didn't know how to take care of anyone outside of himself. So him being so enamored and interested in everything I had to say, that had me like, oh, he must really like me, right? But then all of those things that I told him, he always found a way to throw them back in my face. He knew about my past, you know, me being molested and sexually assaulted in so many different ways, pretty much 95% of my life so far. He used that as a way to blame me for his insecurities in the bedroom. He had intimacy issues. And the thing is, everything that I've been through, even up till now, I've taken my time to work through it. I have gone, you know, God helped me to go through things and work through things. And that's why I'm able to talk about things and talk about these things and really be honest about it, because God has allowed me to work through these things. I'm not blaming anybody for it. I just, you know, this is what it is. This is what I went through. And so while I'm letting these things go and saying, okay, I'm all full forced into this relationship and I am not carrying whatever past or whatever uncomfortable things happened to me in my last relationship, or the molestation or the sexual abuse that I went through, I am not putting it on him. So he didn't have to jump through hoops to make me feel comfortable, because I allowed myself to wipe the slate clean for him. But yet for years, the first, I guess maybe 3 years, every time he had intimacy issues, because he was actually afraid to do certain things. He was actually had issues. So instead of facing his issues, whenever we weren't intimate as often as he would like or whatever, he would always throw it back at me and say, well, you know, I'm not that guy. That's what he would always say. I'm not that guy. And eventually I was just like, I never said you were. You keep saying that. At this point, it's not a me problem. It's a you problem. I already told you that I'm not putting this on you, and I'm obviously giving my all. And the thing is, I kept giving my all. He kept sucking it up. And then when you're dealing with somebody who is empty and also is like a bottomless pit, like they have holes everywhere, they'll keep sucking and sucking and sucking your energy, and then it's almost like pooping it right back out, and then they come back and say, I need more. And then blame you if you don't give them more. How dare you be selfish and not give me more of you, when I'm literally only giving you like 10% of me. And I kept wondering, I didn't realize how exhausted I was from that relationship until after we broke up, how I had been literally running in circles, I always say going nowhere fast for 6 years, just running, trying to replace everything to make this man happy. Whatever he didn't like or didn't want or wanted changed, I'm literally rearranged. Now, not at the expense of my kids, because I don't care what man it is, my kids have always come first. I mean, before I even made the decision of moving in with him, I made sure that all 3 of my kids were okay with it, comfortable with him, spent time with him. I think it was like after maybe a year or something of us being together when we actually moved in together. It wasn't at the expense of my kids. You're not gonna tell my kids to shut up so you can feel comfortable. That's not happening. I always praise my kids because my kids are really good kids. I'm in here with my kids right now. Can you tell? I have my cat sitting there, and 3 of my daughters, my 3 youngest, as a matter of fact, are in here. Does this sound like a circus to you? I mean, kids are kids. You know, sometimes they get in a playful mood and we giggle and we laugh and we play, but that's kids. But if I had the camera, I would show you. I'm not going to do all of that. You don't need to see my whole house. But I'm just saying, this is just proof that whatever he was complaining about was non-existent. This is another example of him pretty much trying to put me down to make himself feel better, or to validate himself, because he really didn't like me. He didn't. Whatever he could find, he really didn't like the fact that we were playful and happy and loving and you know, and things like that. He didn't even really know. I remember my daughter really saying to me, he seemed like a robot trying to pretend how to be a human. Like, really, you ever seen I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was a really funny movie, and I absolutely love this movie. And I think I'm gonna try to find it tonight and watch it because Eddie Murphy was so funny in this movie. It was Eddie Murphy and Gabrielle Union, and they were like coming from some spaceship or something like that, and they were really small on Earth. And it was he was in like Old Navy, and he's like, "Welcome to Old Navy," and he kept like trying to mimic being a human, and he was smiling at her. He's like, there's a really weird smile. That's him. like have you ever had fun before? Faking happiness. How can you fake happiness for 6 years? And I would notice like him, just like when we first got together, just kind of staring and watching. But over time, I realized that he didn't like me because he was jealous of me. He complained about me laughing too much because he had no laughter. He couldn't just giggle at random stuff. I play a prank or something on him, he doesn't even know how to take it. He was insecure about those things, and he knows that he's faking happiness. If I did any of those things, he would find subtle ways to make me feel stupid, or that joke just wasn't funny, or you're just stupid. Me and my kids are around, and I'm a silly mom. I tell mom jokes, you know, and we're around and I'm just joking with my kids, and we're laughing and joking, and he would find a way to laugh. Like if the kids like, "Mom, that joke's not funny," he would love to join in and say, "Yeah, that's not funny," and enjoy when the joke was on me. Like if to almost make it seem like he was trying to gain up on me. But my kids wouldn't do that. You know, my kids are my kids. They my babies. So, you know, you could tell he was always like trying to be like, like he was trying to make the joke on me. But we could never do something like that with him because he's fragile. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence is when you feel this and love yourself and able to be yourself no matter who's around and no matter what. You don't have to be a chameleon and change yourself according to who you're around. You don't feel the need to hide anything of yourself. You don't feel the need to fit in anywhere, but you also don't feel the need to compete with others, compare yourself to others, put others down to feel better. And you can be happy in whatever atmosphere or whoever you're around, and you have confidence enough to be able to separate yourself from someone and say, "Oh, even I don't care if they have a lot or a little bit. I'm confident in who I am, and I don't feel embarrassed because I don't have what you have, because I am confident with myself." Arrogance is fragile. It's a very fragile ego. It's like I'm confident so long as I'm feigning confidence, so long as I look good. But if you say any joke, anything towards me, I'm defensive. It doesn't, even if it's a simple joke, I'm defensive. And the thing is, he's insecure and covert. So when he would try to do these things, it's subtle and passive aggressive. It's not like I tell a joke and then all of a sudden he's just angry and shut up. No, it's more of a fake phony laugh, and then it's well, I didn't, you know, and now he's trying to explain himself because now he feels insecure and he has to defend himself. But we're joking, and it's not even, you know, I don't tell or do jokes like harmful jokes, and you know what I'm saying? Like it was made moments awkward, but it was okay for him to do that when it was about me, when he wanted to make my jokes seem stupid, or, you know, to bring the room down and like, I don't know what she talking about. I don't know what she talking about. But he, you know, I watched this video. I think this was in the same video when the lady was talking about, and I think I'll leave the link to the actual video that I was watching so people can see what I was talking about. And I think it was a part where the lady said, men don't tell jokes. They say things, and then they laugh to test your temperature. And that's exactly, and I think back so many times, that's exactly what he would do. Say things and then kind of this phony fake laugh afterwards to see how it would come across. But because it's so passive aggressive, I would sit there confused, like, okay, is that an insult? Or I'm sitting here trying to figure it out. But later on, I learned, and this is crazy because I'll say this anyway. I should already known this. I feel just so silly. It's like after you get out of it, you feel silly. Like, I can't believe I allowed myself to go through this or deal with this for so long. Which is why in my situation, I do believe it was a bewitchment, because like I said, I didn't like him. It was literally like a Cupid shot an arrow in my back. That night I had the dream, and then after that, there was like some rose-colored glasses on my eyes, and as soon as I asked God to remove me from it, the glasses was ripped off my face, and I saw the truth. That's literally how it went. People can do love spells, all that kind of stuff. I don't know how it happened. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why I had a dream about him and out of nowhere. I have, to this day, I really can't tell you. But I know that dream was the start of the bewitchment. And when I said that prayer and asked God to separate me, it was like whoosh, night and day. And then I looked at her and was just like, I'm not even attracted to you. I don't like the kind of person you are. You're actually not a really nice person. And I start to look back at these things and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's just been insulting me and insulting me and basically deflecting. That's another thing that narcissistic people do, and men do, that don't like you. You can always tell how they really feel about you, because pay attention to the insults, that whatever they call you is how they feel about themselves. And normally when they do that is when you're doing something that they're jealous of. So at my happiest, when I'm more bubbly or playful or able to do something better than he is, or able to handle something better. Like if I had more money than him, there were a few times where he was out of work, going from job to job. And I'm not the kind of woman like, oh, you lose your job, I'm leaving you, right? One thing I can say that he went to work, but again, a person can go to work every day and be lazy. He didn't go to work because he was a hard worker. He went to work because he had to. Especially when he's that type of person, a covert narcissist who was very much worried about their image. He had to. His image is, I'm a hard-working man. That's his image. So he had to. But he's, went to different jobs. And now looking back, he always the hero in his stories. I think that he bumped heads with this other narcissistic guy, gave him attitude, and because he couldn't get his way and couldn't get enough attention, they wasn't allowing him to be the most important person in the room. Like at our job where we met, they just let him work by himself in the back with the forklift. So it made him feel important, right? He set up this persona where people were like, they called him Batman. Like they was afraid to go talk to him. Like I was the only one that wasn't scared to go talk to him or say something to him, But it was like everybody was like, but nobody bothered him unless it was work related, because they looked at him like he's this real serious guy, and but it didn't work out the same as that other job. Like he wanted to be put on some sort of pedestal, and I think he didn't get that what he wanted. Therefore, he left and then tried to go to a different location, and it just didn't work out. He was making it seem like they wanted him so bad and everybody's trying to hire him. And then he's like, well, now they decided not to hire him back or something. And I was like, the whole story didn't even make sense. Those are ways that he would pretty much deflect his behavior or his feelings of, so he would call me selfish when he's actually the one who's selfish. I know I'm not selfish. Ain't nobody ever gonna tell me that I'm selfish. Everything that I said to him, he was trying to say it back to me. And I'm like, you're just repeating what I just said. Like, again, we're just repeating whatever I'm doing, following me to every job, repeating everything that, like, I realized it'll take you years to learn who a person really is. So if a person is covert narcissistic, and they have been perfecting their mask or their persona or their image for a really long time, they can be able to hide who they are for a really long time, but they can't hide it forever. Eventually, the stupidity is going to come out. Eventually, a person pretending to be smart you're gonna realize, notice the stupidity. Just took me a little bit longer. Maybe I'm a little bit stupid too. But the stupidity will start to shine. I'm telling you, the narcissism will come out. Pretending to be a nice person, it will come out. And manipulation, the silent treatment, and then making it seem like I was the reason they were silent. Perfect example, when I started DoorDashing and I had to drop him off at work, which he really didn't like because that means he didn't have control of the car. He's okay with me, his woman, waiting outside, waiting for him after work for however long I need to wait. But him, he don't like waiting for people. So if anybody ever worked delivery or DoorDash, a lot of times you can't really control how long a delivery might take or whatever. And I'm working DoorDashing across town. So I would try to finish up my last order close to time for him to get off and make my way over to him. And a lot of times I wouldn't get there exactly at the time he gets off, depending on traffic. But, I'm not coming 3 hours later, but he knows that, okay, this order, it took a little longer to drop this order off, So if I got there, it doesn't matter. If I got there 1 minute late, I can feel the energy. And then when he gets in the car, I have to get out of the driver's seat and get in the passenger seat so he can drive. And then it's like the whole energy in the car is down, because on my way there, I got the music up. I'm a bubbly person, great mood, dancing on my way there. And it's like, as soon as I pull up and he gets in the car, he's completely silent. He just gets in the car. And even if I'm like, hey, and then I can feel that he's upset. That's that passive aggressive covert narcissism where you feel like you have to step on eggshells around a person because they just let you know with their energy that they're angry and just disappointed. And you don't want to disappoint them, and you're like, I don't want, now the rest of the night is going to be weird, Now he's just quiet the whole drive, and I'm always the one to have to break the ice. I'm always the one who have to try to make it fit. And over time, he was doing that. I started stop caring. And he get in the car, and I'm just turn my music back on or start watching my phone. And then he would act irritated, like, how dare you not pay attention to me, give you silent treatment, So he would do it, get in the car and be silent. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, okay, waiting for you to say a word to me. We're not doing that. So I would turn my music back up or turn the music back on or turn something on my phone, watching YouTube or something like that, and just be in a happy, bubbly, same mood, laughing, watching something, giggling, just acting like nothing happened, because I'm not going to keep trying to pander to you like a toddler. Like, you 40-something years old. You can wait 10 minutes for your wife, especially since when you were picking me up from work, there's times I had to sit outside in the heat and wait for you for about an hour, whatever time you get off, and you're just like, oh, I got off late. And I'm never like, oh my gosh, what happened? I'm just like, okay, I totally understand. You're at work. But when it's him, I need everybody to treat me like I'm royalty. I am the prize. How dare you not be here and waiting for me? Man, bye. So when I don't give him the response that he wants, where I'm just sitting there silent right along with him, then he's like, just, walk around. We had the same pouting, the same stupidity. And it took me so long to see those things. Like, and now that we're not together, I look back on a lot of those things and I wish I fully knew what narcissism was then, because then I could really pinpoint a lot of other things that I know I missed. But those were ways for him to show me how just my simple personality irritated him. How, I remember we first went to the beach, and here I am, call myself you know, I can see that this man is bitter. I can see that this man is sad and lonely and bored and all of these things, and he's in his 40s and ain't never been to a beach. Okay, let's go take him to the beach. I go to the beach and he just kind of standing there with his hands, and it's like a toddler, like trying to force a toddler to have fun. Like, I don't want to like water. Like, that is just how he carried himself. Like, I don't like water. Okay, I have kids. When you have kids, you're gonna have to put your feet in some water, take them to some water. You can't just be like, well, I don't like parks, I don't like water, I don't like heat, I don't like outside. So what are the kids supposed to do? Sit in here and stare at your face? No. Like, are you kidding me? Or only do things you want to do? Negro, we ain't doing that. So we go to the beach, and I remember him just, first of all, kept trying to really just kept saying how much, and even towards the end, it got even worse. But at the beginning, like I said, it was almost like his narcissism just kind of dribbled in over time and started to pile up towards the end. So every time I would bring something up to do something with the kids, you know, I want to take them to the beach, I want to take them to the pool, I don't like water. Yeah, but the kids want to go, I don't really like water. I never really liked water. He just keep talking about himself. And I'm like, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the kids. And we get to the beach, and he just kind of stands there with his hands in his pocket, like he don't know what to do with himself, staring out into just looking like, oh, it was, and I saw this in a few videos too, how you could do something for a man like that, and they'll literally be mad at you, resent you, jealous of you at the same time while you're doing something for them. So he was resenting, jealous, and mad that I was able to go to the beach and I can enjoy myself, and mad that I took him and he's just sitting there like, how dare she be able to bring me to the beach and just be, it's the weirdest thing. I don't even know how to explain that mindset. I really don't. I'm mad at you for being able to take me somewhere and do something nice for me. And, you know, like, it's, I don't even know how to explain something like that. They'll literally be resent you and be mad at you for trying to make them happy. I don't get it. But there, like I said, there were times, and I'm kind of skipping over things back and forth. One, because my ADHD brain, and two, because as I'm talking about things, there are other thoughts that I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. So bear with me. I hope it all makes sense at the end. But as I was talking about the job, so there's times that he wasn't working, going from job to job, leaving one job, going to another. And like I said, I never was like, oh, you lose a job, I'm leaving you. You know, he's changing jobs. That's totally fine. A lot of times he was trying to change to whatever job I was at. And that ain't a lie. Like, I DoorDashed, he DoorDashed. I delivered flowers, he delivered flowers. He worked at almost every job that I worked at. I don't know why. At this point, I'm like, was he trying to keep an eye on me? Or was he just trying to compete with me and do everything I was? I don't even get it. If I had more money than him, or if I just had money, period, he would always make it seem like it just wasn't enough. Like, whatever I was doing was never good enough for him. And I remember him saying to me more than once, when he didn't have money or when he wasn't working and I was, I gotta get this job because we can't do nothing with that. I don't like he just, I'm sitting here, I remember sitting on the bed and we was like talking about finances, and I'm just saying what I had. I forget saying how much I had, which wasn't a lot, but I'm the only one working and I'm not making as much as he was, because he was making way more than me, but he was expecting me to pay the rent by myself. That's a whole nother. Putting whatever I had, he put it down. Like, that's not enough. And that's not the first time he said something like that to me. And I just sat there and was like, okay, imagine, I can't believe I let myself go through this. Imagine it, this is how it felt. Your child comes home from school with an A or a B, and they're like, look, Mom, I got a B, you know, I work really hard for this B. And the parent, you as the parent, or the parent says to the child, this ain't nothing. This means, this ain't nothing. You could do better than that. Imagine how that child feels. That's how I felt in that moment. That happened more than once. And I did not realize until, and even now, I still think that I deal with the remnants of it, because I find myself being frozen. I hear that after dealing with narcissistic abuse that you can have issues with just like getting up out of bed, and sometimes I don't know if I'm just being lazy or depressed. I don't know if I just don't know what to do with myself. Is it my ADHD, or if I'm second guessing myself, or I don't know sometimes. Because when we were together, I had to over-explain everything. Over-explain everything because nothing I was doing was ever good enough. Just going to the market to get something that he asked for, and if I couldn't get it, was a whole story in itself. Oh, I couldn't get it because they had this, but they didn't have this, and I got to explain the whole thing to make him feel comfortable that I asked, so he can believe that I actually tried. Because he still think that nobody's cares, and then no matter what I'm doing, he's still claiming nobody cares about him. Nobody wants to do, nobody cares about what I'm into. Nobody. I have paid for all the furniture. I have gotten us this place, each place that we went to. I got the realtor. I paid most of the money for it. I put the furniture in there. I set things up. I remember when we first moved in together in the first house, instead of him putting his stuff in the closet, he literally put all the stuff in the basement. All of his stuff, clothes and everything. Not just some of the stuff, not the stuff he wants to put in storage, and said he's going to get a storage or something like that. It was just the weirdest thing. I don't know what that was. To me, and now thinking back, I'm like, was that his way of saying I don't even plan on being here? Like I don't want to be here, and I make sure I just keep my stuff in storage just in case I can just leave. I put his stuff in our room. Again, feeling like I'm dragging a toddler along with me. We had already moved in. In one sense, I feel so stupid that I was so gullible to think that that was what love is. But again, I give myself grace because I know that if you don't know what love feel like, how are you supposed to know what it looks like when you get it? What looks like him listening to me was him judging everything about me. Look, he was listening to me and looking for reasons to not like me. Like all of the things that I was telling him, he was just like, oh, I don't usually like dating. I said I wasn't going to date women with kids, and he threw that in my face for years, just to keep making me feel like I could just walk out the door at any time. I'm only here because I'm giving you a chance, and it's like, it's getting better, but still not where I needed to be. I remember, so at one point I had he proposed to me, which was, like I said before, really lackluster. And I bought a dress. My parents put a down payment on the venue. And I bought multiple dresses, actually. I was getting everything prepared and putting everything together. And then we stayed engaged for 3 years. Not once did he lift a finger to even find a bow tie. And then when I talked about it, he just kept saying, well, we're not ready, and I don't think they're ready. He wasn't saying it as if we're not ready financially. Because first of all, if that's how you felt, you shouldn't have proposed. And maybe we shouldn't have had a child, right? But he would make it seem as if it was something that I still needed to do in order for him to want to actually marry me. We still got to work on communication. So he had me thinking this whole time that I'm not communicating with him enough. But the whole time it was him. He was the problem. He was the reason why we can't communicate. I learned that when a person keeps telling you that we need to work on communication, you know what that means? I need you to shut up. I need you to stop challenging me. I feel like every time we talk, you got something to say. That's what it was. Everything, every single thing, the simplest things. We could be like, Taco Bell's on that side. Oh, I thought Taco Bell was on that side of the street. No, it's over there. But it's over there. But I know it's over there. But it can literally be that simple, because he has to have the last word and he has to be right. And he did not like the fact that he didn't want to hear what I had to say. And he wanted me to make him feel like he had all the best things to say. And once I put my 2 cents in and I actually challenge him and I say my piece, it starts to make him feel stupid, because he realized I'm not as dumb as he thought I was. The problem is, when he got with me, he got with me in a state of emotions where I was going through a lot. I had literally just moved, because my house, the place I was living at before, wasn't a great place, and my house was broken into like literally five times. They stole everything I had. So I left the place and I chose to go to my parents' house and start over. And I was okay being there. I was okay being there, just me and my kids. I wasn't dating anybody, wasn't looking to date with anybody. I just was going to start over. And like I said, that was the perfect time for the enemy to come in and distract me. He was put there to slow me down. And that's what he did. He slowed me down, distract me. It worked. And so, so once we got together, he thought he was saving me from something. Like he's, I'm the best you'll ever have. When actually it's the opposite way around. I'm the best he's gonna ever have. He realized that the person, the gullible, pathetic, miserable, sad little girl that he thought he met, one, I wasn't gonna stay there. Because one thing he didn't know about me is that I'm a fighter and I'm strong and I'm okay with working on my crap. I'm okay with learning, growing, admitting, repenting, and working on my crap. So he was expecting me to stay in this space that he could keep towering over me and making me feel bad. So that's why he felt okay to keep throwing stuff in me. I'm like, why do you keep bringing that up? That's not even who I am anymore. He likes having something to keep throwing at me and telling me that I'm not good enough. You're still doing this. You're not this. But the thing is, while he was spending all that time focusing on all of my issues, he was never talking about any of his, as if he had not. Right? So that was his way of making me feel like, keep showing me that I don't really like you. I'm just here because I know you're going to make me feel good about myself. You keep making me feel like I'm better than who I am. I know I'm not this great, but long as I can keep you down here and make you think that you're below me, you'll continue to hold me up. And that's what I was doing. I was holding him up. I was literally holding him, propping him up. He talking about he always liked these Jordans and talking about how he used to dress, still got the same clothes that he had in his 20s, claiming that that's how he dressed. And he dressed like I showed you the picture. Go look at the other video. That's how he dressed, like a clown. He had no style. I started buying him Jordans. And then nothing was good enough. He said he wanted Jordans. I gave him the Jordans. They just sit in the closet. He wanted a Bluetooth speaker. I get him a Bluetooth speaker. Now he wants a new Bluetooth speaker. Nothing is ever good enough. So, and mind you, I don't think he's ever bought me anything expensive. And I can't even tell you how much that ring cost. It was small, and I guarantee you it probably was not, because he lies. And I don't know, he lied. He had this is just side stories at this point, but he had these gold chains that he was keeping in storage because he holds on to a bunch of stuff, right? YouTuber that I watched, Lee Hammock, and he was one of the reasons, shout out to Lee, because he was one of the reasons why I really learned a lot about narcissism. And he pointed out that a lot of times narcissistic people like to keep memorabilia and things from their past. And it's just like almost a reminder of either a good time or whatever the case is. So he holds on to a lot of crap, like just stupid stuff. I mean, he had a booklet full of DVDs and just keep talking about these old movies that he used to watch. Girl. But anyway, So he had these gold necklaces. And at this time, like I like I said, I'm a single mom. I always was a single mom before he showed up. So I've done things like, you know, I sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I had like a whole like bunch of different shoes that I had from me and the kids, like high heels. So I was selling things, and it was like, he said, you know, maybe you can try to sell these. And he for all this time that we was together, he kept saying these was real gold chains. At this point, it's like 4 years after we've been together or something like that. And so I'm like, okay. I go get to know, now I finally have them in my hand. It was almost like at first he didn't trust me to have them. Like I don't know what he thought I was going to do with them. They was ugly anyway. But I'm like, okay, if they are really real gold, you know, we can sell them. So I go do some research on them and look them up and everything else. Kind of find out, girl, they was so fake. All of them. I think it was like 3. I'm like, they so fake. And I never knew, because I never seen them like up close and really was like, you know, checking them out and stuff. I'm not like a jewelry connoisseur. I don't know. So it took me to get them up close and like look in the inside of them and, you know, really get a magnifying glass and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, these are fake, like costume jewelry fake. And the only reason why they still looked the way they looked is because he thought, his stupid tail, thought they was real gold, so he had been keeping them preserved. Anyway, so there was a time, let's go all the way back to when I was the other story, because I'm just telling stories at this point. At one point, I gave him his ring back, because we kept going back through it. And this was the last 2 years. I don't think he knows, but the last 2 years, I was building my relationship with God. So it was, at one point I was at this job, and I kept going to work, and I'll tell a story about that maybe in another video. And every day I went to work, I kept saying 10:14 on the clock every single day. And I didn't know where that came from. And now I realize, and I'm at 14 mark. Anyway, now I realize that when, like a year or so before we lost the house and stuff, while I was still at this job, we kept going through these things. Well, I didn't understand. When I would sleep in the room, I was almost like afraid of the dark. Sometimes I would have sleep paralysis or bad dreams. I mean, I would wake up like crying or upset or whatever. I would have bad dreams, sleep paralysis and all those kind of things. And like I said, he would just plop his headphones, his earplugs in, turn on some loud rain, and roll over, go to sleep like a bear, and not care about the baby or anything. I had to deal with all of that. And if there was a noise outside the door, I would be the one to get up and look. I'm sitting next to a grown 200-something pound, 6 foot supposedly man, but I'm getting up to go see what that noise is. That's how it was. That's literally how it was. I mean, there was a time we were in a hotel, and some little boys stole our toddler's ball, and I'm out there. He's standing in the doorway. No, he didn't even come out. Let me backtrack. He was in the room, and I'm sitting here saying, somebody stole our ball. My daughter pointed him out. She was 3, and she said, him right there. He just walked past and took it. She all loud, and I would have let it go. But she kept saying, I just saw him walk past. They right there and took it. So I'm looking at the lady on the balcony, and I'm like, hey, did you see them with the ball? And she's like, they said they didn't have it. Here I am out here not fighting people, but I'm doing detective work to get our daughter's ball back. This big grown fat Albert sitting in the room. And I say it this way because those moments, I think back on it, I'm angry because it shows that you really did not care not only about my well-being, but your daughter's well-being. Like, you really was that much. You were walking around here giving this image that you this big football player, but you are literally a coward. You're arrogant, but you're insecure and a coward. What you arrogant for if you a coward? You ain't got nothing to be arrogant for. You have nothing. Inside or out. I'm not just talking about material things. Empty on the inside and broke on the outside. But anyway, Lord, I digress again. Where was I? So there was a time where I didn't understand what was going on. So we kept going through these moments of he downstairs, I'm upstairs, silent treatments. And at the time, I didn't know they were silent treatments. I just thought he kept making, every time that he did something or something was done, it was him causing it. He would make it seem like I was the reason. It was silent treatment because I'm being silent. Because I didn't, but which really what he means is he started the silent treatment and I didn't break the ice. So that means, therefore, I didn't say nothing because I thought you didn't want to talk. And I'm like, I didn't say nothing to you because I thought you didn't want. So now it looks like I always have to break the ice to say, and I didn't understand. I'm like, something's not right. I just don't know what. Like, I feel like I'm like, what do I, and I'm talking to him, we should get therapy or counseling, especially before we get married. He's agreeing to it, but never actually doing it. I mean, at one point he said he was getting counseling and therapy. So he go down in his office, and I do this because you don't do nothing in there but watch PORN. So it's not really an office. It's just a room with a computer in it. You can't have, an office is something you use when you're actually doing work. Anyway, I digress again. So I didn't understand what was going on. I was tired of going to working at these jobs that I don't like. Getting up I hate getting up early in the morning. I'm sorry. I'm not an early person. Don't wake me up at 6 o'clock in the morning talking about I need to go to somebody else's Negro's job that ain't paying me enough. I don't like it. Okay? I'll do it if I have to, but I don't like it. So I was just like, Lord, I just need you to take over. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, there was a me who existed, who had more ambition, who had dreams. I used to want to be a singer. I looked beyond the clouds. And I say that meaning there was a me who wasn't just like, I'm gonna just get a job and work, because I never believed in that. I know that there's a different life for everybody. Some people are meant or okay with just getting a job and working there at the same job for 30 to 50, 60 years, but that never fit my personality. I'm a creative person. I've been singing, dancing, writing, creating things since I was at least 5 years old. So I need to be doing something creative. Otherwise, I'm depressed. Any other creative person knows that's how we are. If you're a creative person, you have ideas running through your heads all day. I need to get it out. And that made me a really good worker at work, because I come up with creative ideas to do things differently, and that propelled me at work. But I was like, I still didn't feel happy at work or at home. I'm like, something's missing. And of course it was Jesus. So I had just went, and one day in the shower, I was home by myself, and I just literally prayed, and I said, Lord, let your will be done. At this point, if you think, and it's not meant for us to be together, because I realized I never dared to say that prayer to ask God to bless that relationship, because I was smart enough to know that, how dare you ask God to bless a relationship and you living in sin? You living together, having sex, have a child, but you're not married. I knew that was wrong. So I never asked him to bless our relationship. I just asked him, if this isn't what you want, break it apart. Let it be. Let your will be done. And I asked him to take the will. From that moment on, that is when I started seeing 10:14 on the clock every single day at work. And I didn't put those two together until after we lost the place and I kept seeing numbers and stuff, right? So at some point, I gave him that ring back. But we were still together, still living together and everything. And once again, I give him the ring back, but he makes me feel like I'm the reason, like I have to do more work to earn the ring I gave him. I need to earn it back, not him needing to earn himself worthy of giving me the ring back. No, I need to earn the ring back. That's the position he put me in. So now he has the ring back, and I think once or something like that. I never got it back, by the way. I never seen that ring again after I gave it back. I didn't even want it back, because after a while I realized that he didn't even deserve me. That ring didn't even deserve to be on my finger. Not from him. I mean, he was so subpar. Like, the pedestal that I put him on compared to who he really is like, girl, the curb compared to the clouds. Like, what was I thinking? Like, he was nothing. And his family telling him he ain't who you think he is. He's pretending. Anyway, so over time, here I am working really hard once again, because every time we had issues in our relationship, it was always up to me to fix it. But after I said that prayer, at that point, I was like, let God's will be done. So I stopped putting in as much effort, and I just let things flow. And then I started focusing on, I told him I was, what I was trying to do. I'm looking into other things. I wanted to DoorDash. I wanted more freedom. I wanted to go back to school and, him work, and then he covered the bills. But of course, he didn't like me enough to even help me with the rent. Therefore, he was never going to cover all the bills. He said, okay. He just said, oh, okay. Like, he was going along with the conversation, but never actually saying yes. And he never actually made the effort, because he acted like, I would support you. No, he won't. He'll support it as long as I'm doing something that he gets some sort of credit or benefits from it. But he ain't doing all the work. Oh no, that's not, no. But so I remember after we seemed like we was in like a better place. Like, I thought we were happier and getting closer or whatever, right? And I remember having this conversation where I approached him, and this time, because the first time we were texting and I had left the ring on his table. So this time we're in the room, in our old bedroom, and I'm like, so when am I going to get the ring back? And I'm sitting here in his face crying, wondering, I thought we were doing better, and when we going to get the ring back. And when I think about it, he literally had a smile on his face. It was almost like we still got a lot of work to do. We still got to work on our communication. And I'm sitting here crying, looking in his eyes. And he first of all, he was just pumped up, because every time he would fake break up with me or do things so he could get my reaction, because that made him feel good to see me upset over him. That made him feel good to see me cry over him. So him seeing me cry about that made him feel good about himself. So he's literally smiling, saying we still got communication issues, and we still got to work on. Basically what he meant was, you still not good enough for me. That's what he kept telling me in so many ways. And I finally listened. After that, it was like a slow drip. It was like one more thing and one more thing, and it just got more and more. Was just like, I know daggone well. And I sat there after a while listening to that. I sat there, I remember just sitting there thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, why do I feel like I'm doing so much work? I'm not the reason we have communication issues. You are. I can communicate very well, sir. I don't know what you're talking about. So who has a problem communicating? And that point on, I stopped caring about having the ring back. Because I'm like, okay, if he gives it back, he's going to give it back when he's ready to give it back. I'm not chasing him, and I'm not asking him for it. Because one thing I always told myself, I was never going to beg a man to marry me. And I didn't. And eventually God really pulled me out of that completely. So, yeah. I don't care who you are, what you look like. Nobody deserves somebody continuously dragging, basically stringing them along so they can keep using you for whatever you can give them. Using me because I know how to cook and you don't, and your sister don't know how to cook, and you, before you met me, you were just eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Using me because I'm an intimate and loving person, and I am okay with submitting and doing whatever my husband needs. And you know, I was at the time gullible enough to give you husband treatment when you really did not deserve it. It was almost like the lady said in the video, auditioning to be your wife, but you already done decided that I didn't get the part, but you gonna keep telling me to keep auditioning. Come back and do this line. Come back and do this scene. Come back and do this, but I'm still not gonna hire you for the role. Are you kidding me? Wasting 6 years of my life. But it's a good thing black don't crack, right? Because do I look like I just wasted 6 years? I don't think so. You live and you learn, right? And I tell these stories because I want someone to see what it looks like on the other side. In conclusion, no matter who you are or what your past is, what you've been through, what mistakes you may have made, no one deserves to be abused. No one deserves to feel like they're never enough or never good enough. Just remember, in God's eyes, how he sees you is not how the world sees you. The world sees your mistakes. The world leaves you or sees you in whatever your latest state is, whatever your latest mistake is, wherever they last saw you is where the world sees you. God does not see that. Tell the truth and shame the devil. A person cannot hold anything against you after you've already given it up to God, given it to them. Everybody also don't need to know your business, but when someone is trying to use your past or use your life or your mistakes to hold you down, your mistakes is not what makes you. It's how you came out of them and who you are now. Everything he did throughout our relationship was a dig at me. He wanted me to feel bad about my body. He wanted me to feel bad about my cooking. He blamed his weight gain on my cooking. Now, I'm not standing up. I have 4 kids. I'm 38 years old. I've been in pretty good shape since I was a teen. I started doing yoga, which I don't do now any longer, but I started doing yoga, jogging, working out, Zumba, and I pretty much eat healthy. I didn't even start drinking sodas until him and I was together. My entire life, I only drank water, juice, and tea. Not until we got together did I start eating more like fried foods, sodas, more junk food. See where this is going? Through all 4 of my pregnancies, I never weighed over 130 pounds. And right now, I'm at like 150. And I'm working on losing about 10, 15 pounds for my comfort. Not because a man wants me to. Not because the world think I should. Not no image that I'm trying to fit into. Just because I feel more comfortable somewhere between 130 and 140-ish. However, before we met, all he was eating was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because he couldn't afford and can't cook. And then when we got together, when I started making real food, homemade food, mostly baked, full meals, none of my children are overweight. I've never been overweight. However, he's the biggest one in the house, but it's my food that's causing it. You see how narcissistic people do? Whatever their issues are, is somehow your fault that they have those issues. Blaming his gingivitis or whatever you call his gum disease on his mother's poor parenting when he's 47 years old. Sir, you've been an adult for a really long time. So whenever someone is trying to use your past to put you down, remember it's a reason. There's their own insecurities that they try to deflect and inflict on you, and it's not your fault. It is not your place to make them feel better. And it's not your burden to carry. We all got enough baggage and burdens of our own to carry, to try to carry some other grown person's burdens, especially if they are not willing to also help you carry yours. It's okay. We make mistakes. We love the wrong people. We live and we learn, and we move on. The best thing you could do is learn to love God so He can show you why you should love yourself. Because the people around us, the world is so cruel. Besides just the people that we date and the narcissists that we come across, the world itself and media and society is so cruel, telling us that we're never good enough. You're never good enough as being a black person. You're not good enough being a black man. You're not good enough being a black woman. You're not good enough if you're fat. You're not good enough if you're skinny. You're not good enough if you're not, I don't know, a genius. You're not good enough if you can't sing good enough. I mean, whatever it is, the world is always going to find flaws. When it's crazy because everybody's flawed. So I don't understand why we are so excited to find somebody else's flaws as if you ain't got none. It's hilarious to me. So once you learn that your greatness can exist past your flaws, along with your flaws, and that your flaws is what makes you great and makes you stronger, your mistakes is what make you stronger, and you learn to love yourself no matter what anybody thinks, no matter what anybody says. And that's the best feeling. And no matter what you have, it's the best feeling. It's just, I don't know, I felt so free when I gave my life over to God. I mean, it was like, even to this day, I'm looking outside at the sky. Even to this day, when I gave my life over to God, I was driving in the car, and I almost can't pay attention to traffic because I kept looking up at the sky, and I'm like, am I missing something? Like, have I just not looked up at the sky in all these years, or is it that it's actually brighter? Because it's like now I'm looking at the sky, I'm like, wow, that's so gorgeous. It doesn't matter what the weather is, it looks gorgeous. God is amazing. He created not only us, but every bit of thing that you see. Man can't create anything. Man and the enemy can't create anything. Only thing that man can do is use God's creations to build and replicate what He has already made. So everything you see, houses, cars, all of this is God's creation, because it can't be put together without Him creating it. It's amazing. And He didn't make no mistakes. He definitely didn't make any mistakes when He made you. As much as people around you might want to make you feel like you're a mistake, but the enemy doesn't fight anyone who isn't a threat. And if the enemy is constantly trying to shut you up, as he's been trying to do my entire life, finding ways, putting that narcissistic spirit been following me around my entire life, trying to pull my self-esteem down, trying to make me feel like my voice doesn't matter. I can't possibly know what I'm talking about, trying to make me shut up. There's something that the enemy doesn't want me to say. There is someone that the enemy doesn't want me to reach. And you have to realize that whatever the enemy is fighting you, where he's fighting you, that is what he's trying to stop. He's stopping something from coming out of you. There's a spirit inside. Ooh, a bug. There's a spirit inside of that person or those people who are trying to take you down, that don't want you to grow, that don't want you to realize your passion, your truth, and why God put you here. That's what that person is there for. And once we realize we don't need that person or any persons, and just really concentrate on God, it's amazing how great it feels. Because you just feel like, I don't care. I could be living in a box because I know there's a greater purpose to my life, and there's just a greater purpose in the grand scheme of things. it feels so good to know that in my everyday life, I see people so focused on things that don't matter. And I'm like, at any moment, all of this stuff is about to be burnt down. You worry about that little car that you drive, and that car is gonna be gone. Like, I feel great knowing that none of those things matter. When you realize that there's a greater purpose. So people's emotions and feelings about you tend to be completely irrelevant. And also, we have to learn not to be angry and carrying bitterness and walking around just holding on to, because that's the whole point of them deterring, distracting, and slowing down our life, is that they come into our life, beat us up emotionally, sometimes physically, and take away our spark in the light, try to dim it in some sort of way, slow down our process, slow down whatever we were trying to do, in hopes that we don't even actually get to accomplish those things, and hope to leave a mark. So now, even after they're all out of your life, now you're bitter and for the rest of your life, and now you won't be able to get to whatever you have, because they took everything, that your light, your dignity, and everything else. So now you don't want to try love again. You don't want to give people a chance again. And you're just carrying that with you. We don't want to do that either. Don't let them take already took too much of your past. Don't let them also take your future. The best comeback, the best revenge, is being the best that God has made you to, is finding who you truly are supposed to be, and letting that light that they tried to dim shine even brighter than it was before and when you were with them. That's the best revenge. And we let go, we pray for them, we forgive, we don't forget, and we don't let them back into our lives. It's just that simple. I know it's easier said than done for some people. In my case, somebody do me wrong, I give you a chance to hang yourself. You hang yourself like hangman, I don't have a hard time letting you go. Because it's not too many times you're going to break my heart and I'm not going to catch it. Give yourself time to heal, reflect, learn, spend time with yourself. It's okay to be single. It's okay to be silent. It's okay to sit in the silence and listen to God. I'm still working on that myself, learning how to just sit in silence and listen to, just so I can hear his voice, so I can discern my voice from his voice and the world's voice and my mama's voice and my kid's voice and everybody else's voice that's trying to dilute God's voice. That person was put in your life. Those people were put into your life to clog your ears, to clog your eyes, so you can't see where you're supposed to be going. They're just standing. It's like you're trying to get down this crossroad, and God, and there's a sign behind this person saying, this way, telling you this is where you belong. And then the enemy sends some big ugly person, whoever it may be, just standing in your way, blocking everything that you're supposed to have. Doing absolutely nothing but wasting your time. Just standing there. Not coming along and grabbing your hand and walking with you. Not coming along and getting behind you and pushing you. Nope. Standing in front of you and looking at you. And when they're blocking you and looking in this direction, where are they looking? At your past. Just sitting there, keep looking behind you. But what about that? And what about that? And what about that? Pay attention to that instead of them turning around with you and helping you move forward. I know, my analogies be the best, don't they? But yeah, don't let people do that. I've learned my lesson, and I'm hoping, somebody hears my story. So please like, share, subscribe, and really listen, and pass it down to somebody who you think might need to hear it. If you've gotten this far, subscribe. Don't just watch it and keep it moving. Please subscribe. Again, I'm a single mom, small business, small channel. If you're interested in any of my products, you can email me about that. I am going to post a video. I keep saying it, but I'm going to post a video about the different products that I have. I'm going to try the different lip glosses so you can see them. But if you want to know what I have, you can email me and we can talk about that. I am still working on getting at least 300 subscribers within the next month. I'm not going to give up on that. If I don't reach my mark by next month, I'm going to try it again next month. So if you want to be a part of it and help me grow and watch me grow, be a part of the growth, grow with me, I would love to have you aboard. So keep me in you guys' prayers, and I will do the same.